Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. So weird not hearing him say something after it.
I think
How about just add anything?
I'm
Jared
Brandon,
I
guitar
like cheese.
player.
Here we go. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. We love knowing that you all are out there because you're calling Jared.
That's right.
So we're really excited for another wonderful show. We
Really
hope you liked the last one. If you didn't hear the last one, holy mackerel, go back and check all 232 of them. Why don't you?
What?
Yes. That many. It's crazy pants.
Wow. Hey, is there someone on the line?
Well, I was just about to get to that.
Okay.
We've got a very special guest tonight. You know how much we rave about our Grand Poohbahs, and we've got a one who is not afraid to talk about guitar stuff.
No.
Who are you, Poohbah?
Hey, my name's Cody Foster, and I am a Grand Poohbah.
That's right.
I don't know what that means, but it's done a lot for my resume.
That means that you have your own personal hot tub that is filled with some form of orange liquid.
Yes.
You wear a fez while listening. Do you have your fez on right now?
I don't have it on right now, but I am looking directly at it.
Okay.
Perfect. That'll work.
Close enough.
Yes. Yeah, fez by proximity. Yes.
And you are a mover and shaker and a helper of this podcast.
Not only this podcast, but the guitar community. This is somebody who is spending an awful lot of time, buying, checking out, trading, selling, playing,
check,
doing all the things.
Yes,
with all of the builders and other musicians, and it's great. So we really appreciate that.
We do.
Todd,
what do we do on this show?
Well, let me tell you about that, Tony. We interview boutique builders of guitar gear, pedals, guitars, amps, etc., etc., etc. We also have people who are very influential in the industry in different kinds of ways. We've had a lot of fun talking to people who are spend a lot of their time doing demos to get their sort of feel for what's going on. And we're going to have more. We also do Jared's favorite, which is 101s, in which we get to learn about certain subjects. And we had a semi-101 just recently with Rob Chafe,
was that
Mad
about
Cow Amplification. We didn't call it a one-on-one. It was more like a Q&A.
I didn't realize he worked on semis.
He does not. That was a good one, Tony. So, anyways, we've got lots of those. We're going to do more, and we welcome your opinions. If you got some ideas for, hey, I'd love for you guys to do a 101 on this topic or whatever. Please let us know. If you have special builders that you would love to have on the show, let us know. We're always running into new ones. We're always trying to book new ones. We, not everybody wants to spend time doing a podcast, and that's just kind of the way it is sometimes. Not all of them work out, but we've got a pretty good success rate with getting them on the show. So,
okay, well, next time I ask you that question, I'd like you to pare it down a little bit. Give me the elevator speech.
Oh, sorry.
That was a
I've
little
never
excessive.
done one of these before.
It's very excessive.
Okay. All right. Well, we have a jam-packaronied show, and we're going to make sure that we get Jared on the line. He's having a few technical issues. Okay, so anyways, we're going to move on. We've got some announcements. I want to share...
The old Jared left. I'm still here.
Many of you have been listening for a long time, and anytime you hear that sound, it's usually not good.
Yes.
But old Jared left. New and improved Jared is still here.
That's right.
He's got a new chip.
The pickup guy's here.
Yeah, the pickup guy. So, I love sharing some of the mail we get, some of the direct messages and stuff.
Letters
and whatnot. And I had a really interesting one the other day. Honestly, one of the great things about this is that if somebody sends you one, you send something back. chances are that conversation keeps going.
Yeah.
And I've had so many strings of conversations where I'm like, wow, I feel like I've just made a friend out there. And aside from somebody who enjoys the show and enjoys listening to us be stupid,
you made a connection.
We connect on deeper things.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Not necessarily even on guitar stuff.
Not even on deeper things. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes it's very surface level.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is from Augustine, aka Augie, and he was writing in about the super amps. He says, "Hey Knobs, just want to say thanks for doing what you do. I really enjoyed this podcast because of all the Supro power tube talk." Yes, well, so did I as a Supro owner. He goes on. I'm going to try to paraphrase this because I think we might get a little lost on the numbers. So just bear with me here. This isn't the main point, but I wanted to at least address it because he took the time to write it. I want to chime in because I've been using some fantastic old tubes in place of the 6973S or 6973Z. He says he's running an old Watts Audio built clone of a Model 24 that has been modded to run 6973s and 6CZ5 power tubes. Now, before I get any more alphabet soup on you guys, that's what we determined the Supro power tube to be. And Rob was like, yeah, I don't actually know what that is.
Yeah.
So anyways, Augie found an alternative to that, and he was really happy with it, and he wanted me to pass that on. He also said that his current rig, which is always changing around, is either a Parts Esquire or a High Spirit Guitars Red Tail Hawk. The High Spirits are really cool. Built out of Southern California. I've actually reached out to them trying to get them on the show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And into a Satellite Atom, into a V1 Fryette power station, into a Beat to Crap Emperor 2x12. Okay. Pedals currently on the floor are a Hudson Broadcast Clone, a Black Arts Pharaoh, a Russ Roland Howard RSH2. I have no idea what that is.
That's a mouthful of syllables.
It is. And a Fox Pedals Echo Sex Baby. This changes a lot. I think it's not like this changes everything, but he's saying this changes often. Anyway, he says, I really love the show. We subsequently had a bit more conversation after that. So anyways, he wrote back and he said, so, hey, I've been listening a long time, and I feel like you might be in the same industry that I am in. So we started talking about that. Mm-hmm. That led to other things because, life is a made up of more things than guitars. I know. It's strange.
I disagree.
Wrong.
But it was cool because I think we both just sort of took the opportunity to say, we've got a lot in common. That means we probably also have a lot of different, things that are weighing on us in common, just in life. And, just kind of spontaneously turned into getting a little bit off of our chest a little bit. And it was great. I really appreciate that. It didn't go insane or anything. It just was it was nice. It was cool. It was like, hey, I know
you
who you are. I connected you. I get who you are. So, and
that's nice.
I think that there's a lot of that going on right now. I think the world is, for most of the part, people are really seeking that connection out and open to it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think in some ways the internet helps.
It does.
In some ways, the internet.
It would be very difficult
doesn't.
to hear him if he was yelling all the way from California.
Well, yeah, but if you have one of them big dishes that they listen for alien voices,
yes,
you could probably pick them up.
You might be able to.
Yes.
So, anyways, I really appreciated that, Augustine. Thank you so much for connecting.
Let's call him Augie.
I will. You just did.
Okay.
And then we got something else here.
What's that?
Well, as many of you know who have been listening to the last several episodes, we're very excited about the Spark amp that we got. The Spark amp.
I got one too.
Jared bought one.
Did you get it yet?
In the middle of the show last time.
I did, and it's so awesome. It's a great tool. My boss came over and hung out the weekend, and him and I played through it, and he was playing. We were doing the Smart Jam.
Yep.
Yeah.
And man, he killed it. I mean, he could play circles around me. They both are really great. There's a boss I have and somebody. I have basically 2 bosses. And they're both actually stellar guitar players.
3 if you count your wife.
So meet the new boss. The same
as the old boss.
Okay.
Pretty
Anyways, so this week, what we're doing now, I'm going to give you a little teaser here. You can win one of these yourself.
What?
You can win it. You can win it. Now, what we've been doing is talking about some of the main features, the special features. Thank you, Tony. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 10,000 plus tones. Now, that seems like a lot of marketing stuff, some might say.
Yeah.
It's actually true. That is based on some numbers I'm going to tell you. So what that is, it's a massive, ever-growing tone library. The Spark amp provides over 10,000 killer guitar and bass amp and effects presets from pro guitarists, expert studio engineers, and top producers from around the world. So they didn't just go like, we're going to make a thing. No, they reached out to actual people and like, what are your settings?
Now, can regular users submit things?
You know, that's a very good question. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's quite like the Helix or the Helix platform. I honestly don't know, and I'm just going to find out there. We'll find that out. But essentially, what you've got is a crap ton of initially preset options. You can go into any of those presets and make them however you want.
Yeah.
Now, here's some, Tony, how many amps do you think is in the Spark app?
How many amps? I would say, well, you're talking about just the basic ones? I would say at least 30.
You're very close, Tony. It's 33.
33 and a third.
33 amps.
Wow.
Now, I don't believe those are 33 individual amp manufacturers.
Yeah.
They are 33 famed
Styles.
Amps.
Yes.
Okay.
Types.
How many pedals do you think there are?
Millions.
Not millions. A little bit shy of that. 43. So there are 43 pedals. So but
you can get millions of sounds out of all of that.
All of those combos is sort of somewhat infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
It's very handy. It could seem overwhelming, but it is so simple to use.
I agree.
So, and you know what? Or you can do like I do. Like I just set the actual unit how I want it to sound.
Yeah.
And play that. So there's actual controls on the actual amp. Cody, you do the same thing you said?
Yeah, I was messing with the app a couple of days ago actually, but yeah, half the time I just kind of set it. I plug my headphones in and I just jam. I love mine.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I think, as I said before, I think that the app really opens up the possibilities of this.
Absolutely.
100%.
You can get any
I
tone
use
you
my
want.
app on my iPad, and it's a lot easier for me to use.
Yeah, well, you've got mitts the size
Big
of
giant,
a catcher's glove. So, anyways,
it's a lot of fun.
You can sign up for your chance to win your own Spark amp at positivegrid.com.
Can I sign up again?
I'm not done, dummy. positivegrid.com/guitar knobs. And you could win your very own. Or you could just go get one. It's under $300. And actually right now there's like a $49 off. I mean, it's crazy how cheap this thing is considering what you get and how well it is put together. So go over to positivegrid.com, sign up to get your free one, and maybe even just grab your own.
Tell them Todd sent you.
Yeah, tell him Todd sent you. And Jared, that'll probably be more intimidating. All right, everybody, let's talk about what's going on in our music worlds this week. Tanya, you go ahead and start, and then we're going to check in with Cody.
So I have been watching closely, well, maybe not too closely. One of my favorite retailers, Sweetwater, up in Indiana.
So is your salesman my niece?
No, she is not.
That is unacceptable.
Well, back in July, Sweetwater, I don't know exactly the terminology, but they sort of merged with an investment company under the guise of expanding things. And that kind of, when I first heard that, it kind of sent up a a note of caution because
A note of caution.
Caution indeed. Because the same thing happened with Musician's Friend and Guitar Center.
Yeah, they're all owned by the same people.
Couple of years ago. And the thing I always loved about now I've bought stuff from Guitar Center. I've bought stuff from Musician's Friend. I've bought stuff from Sweetwater. And the thing that I always liked about Sweetwater, it was started and
it's a place.
Well, it's a huge place.
It's a big place.
Apparently, last year they did just about $1 billion worth of sales out of one place. A lot of it's mail order and stuff like that, but it's huge. So what concerned me is since Musician's Friend and Guitar Center merged in with these investment groups, they've kind of
You are really
slid.
hemming and hawing this
Well, I
little
don't
dance
want to.
we're doing
I don't
here.
want to insult.
Okay.
But there's a noticeable difference, and probably part of it is COVID, and part of it is all sorts of things. But in my opinion, both Musician's Friend and Guitar Center, who are one and the same essentially, they just slipped.
And you don't want to see Sweetwater slip.
I don't want to see Sweetwater slip because they were, always based out of Indiana. They were owned. Technically still are owned by the same guy who started it. Mm-hmm. And he grew that from a very, probably small place to what it is now. I mean, $1 billion in sales is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
To date, I haven't seen any expansion beyond.
What do you mean expansion?
Well, that was the guise of getting in combination with an investment company was to expand the operations.
In what way?
I
More
don't
offerings?
know. Maybe.
Another story?
Maybe different distribution centers. I don't know. Maybe something around the world instead
A
of
subway
just,
on the floor level?
No.
Okay.
No, they only do elevated trams like Disney.
Oh, see, I thought you meant like Subway the restaurant.
I did.
I got kind of
Tony
excited.
wasn't
I was
biting.
Like,
Eat fresh.
Eat fresh.
Yes.
Big changes are coming. So I'm just worried because I don't want to see Sweetwater go the way of some of the other giants.
The dodo.
Yes, or the dodo.
Yes.
Because I really do. I think I noticed the last time I
still get
ordered
calls.
something.
If I order something, I still
Yeah.
get a call. I
We
still get
have
an email. I still get all
some-
this stuff. So the service is still there.
The service is still there, although the last order I did not get a little packet
I
of candy
didn't either.
So I think this investment company is taking the candy away.
Run by a bunch of dentists.
Could be. So anyhow, that's the only thing I'm watching.
Dentists and blues lawyers.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
So I again, I hope I hope I'm wrong and,
Okay.
and then things won't go south and whatever.
All right.
But let's keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
shall we?
If it goes any further south, it'll be in whack.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay. Cody, please rescue me from this.
well, I got a couple small things really, but the main thing.
Oh,
was,
you're not going to read yours from the Saturday Evening Post either? Okay.
No,
Good.
I'm more of a New York Post kind of guy, so it's fine. I was actually up just in your neck of the woods. I guess I'm gonna take last weekend and bring it into this week. But,
That's cool.
It's still a week.
Currently, we are in the process of working on an album with Mr. John at Relay Recording. Shout out to John.
Hey, John.
Very excited for that. We just on Friday finished up all the vocals and a couple little extra musical pieces, and now we're taking this week to run through all the mixes and listen to like the rough mixes and put together notes and all that jazz. Well, not jazz, it's actually metal, but it's fine. And then we're gonna send that back to him, and he's gonna start mixing the tunes, and hopefully within the next couple of months, we will have some material to put out that he can hopefully, fingers crossed, happily put his name on. But we had a great experience up there recording with him. So that's like the big thing. And then I discovered a new band yesterday that I've been really digging on called Turnstile.
Oh, very cool.
They are a sort of a melodic hardcore punk band, but with like like
Like they do
power pop.
harmonies and stuff?
Kinda, but I don't even
They're
know how to
like
describe it.
doo-wop hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to check out. Just got to check out their
Bowser's
stuff.
in there.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of the main thing is that we're working on our recording and
Isn't it fun? Isn't it great?
Yeah, I love it. I really
it's
really
such a
enjoyed
special thing to do.
It's been it's actually been years since I was in a studio like actually recording stuff. So this was a really cool experience to be able to go back and like
Nice.
really do that. So
So
yeah.
did you guys record all at once, or did you do parts? Or
No, we did. Well, so I have this weird thing. I am very adamant about the band recording together. Just because, you know, I kind of said, hey, we rehearsed together. We might as well try to record together. So yeah, we all recorded in the same at the same time. We DI'd the bass and then isolated the guitars. I was in the vocal ISO booth and playing and doing the scratch vocals, and we had the drums, and the other guys were out in the main room. But yeah, we recorded all together, and
nice.
then did actually recorded all the songs and all the solos and everything, all the instrumentation in one day. And then we came and did a like a half day session on Friday and did all the vocals, and so we were able to knock it out. But yeah, it was really cool to be recording all together in the room. It was neat.
That's awesome. I dig it. John does a dang good job.
Oh yes, he's great.
Jared, how about yourself, buddy?
Oh man, had a great music week. So, like I said earlier, my boss, his name's Jason, and he came over. We just decided to check out guitars and jam and check out the Spark. And
can you tell the difference between a golden Oreo and a regular Oreo?
You're gonna keep
vanilla?
riding this one, aren't you?
You know, you can barely tell the difference, but there is one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
it's
do
so
apologize for Jared's amp. I just want to say that because I'm going to try to, or not his amp, but his mic, because we're going to, we keep, for some reason, hitting a,
crescendo.
Well, it's not really that, but we're hitting a strange clipping thing with his mic, so we got to sort that out. But anyways, please go ahead, Jared.
So he came over, and I think I have 12 guitars here, and he tried all 12 of them. So he would get one out, and he would start playing, and he would really get into it, and he'd just play and play and play. And I thought, how am I going to tell him to stop politely? And then I learned to just get another guitar out. So I got the next guitar out, and he's like, oh. And so at that point, I'm like, I may as well show him like the least valuable to the most valuable, or the least coolest to the most coolest. So that's what I did. And so when it came time to switch guitars, I just got the next better one out. And he's like, oh, yeah, let me do that one, you know. So it actually went pretty smooth. Nice. And then by the time it was ready to order some cheeseburgers, I was like 3 minutes until the place closed, and I called and they did it anyway.
Wow.
So because I'm right around the corner from the cheeseburger place, and then we ate hamburgers, and then after that we plugged the Spark in and messed with the Spark. It was a lot of fun. I would you do the self jamming thing. You pick a person on the program on the Spark app
to drum with.
Like, right, you're gonna drum with Dave, right? And then it tells you ready, and then you play your chord progression, and then it studies it for a second, and boom, there you go. They start playing it, and then you just jam along with it. It is so awesome.
That's cool, man.
So, and we did that together. So yeah, it was show and tell and Spark fun.
Nice.
And cheeseburger fun too.
And cheeseburger fun. Yeah.
Cheeseburger fun. Yeah. The burger company is one of the best burgers you'll ever have.
Is it a big old burger?
It's not a big burger. It's a fair sized burger, but the way it tastes is that's the surprise of it.
It's the cat's
meow. Tastes
meow.
really good.
All right. Well, there you go. Now they owe you some money.
All about a good cheeseburger.
Hey, Todd Lee, what about you?
Well, I was so happy to receive a package that I had been waiting for from the UK. This is from Marcus, who runs Reeves Electro. We've talked about Reeves Electro a few times on the show. This is a completely hand-built pedal, and it's acid etched, on the outside, which looks fantastic. This particular one is the red dot sound, and I believe that is as a result of these red dot components on the interior. He uses those ones specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, this is an absolute work of art on the inside. It is gorgeous, and
the first thing that impressed me when we pulled the cover on it is the inside of the box is painted zinc chromate, which is what they paint military or most aircraft with on the inside parts. So it's that kind of yellowy green.
Yeah.
And that's a nice little detail that unless you pull the
he
cover
does
off.
some ones, and he does them different colors too. Some are in hot pink, some are in red, some
on
are
the
in
inside?
orange. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's, usually the paint's on the outside. And so you open it up and you're like, what? The paint's all on the inside.
Yeah.
It's really...
Tony Baloney, do you know why they do that in the Air Force?
I think it's because it helps prevent corrosion.
You're probably right.
Although it's
I didn't know,
aluminum,
that's why
so
asked.
I mean, a lot of airplanes are. But yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, because every military
so the
craft
aluminum
I've been-
doesn't rust?
Yeah, so the aluminum. doesn't- Well,
Yeah.
aluminum can oxidize. It
Yes,
won't rust.
It won't rust.
It will oxidize and crystallize. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thanks, chemist team. This is one of the special things about this particular pedal is that if you haven't seen it on Instagram, check it out. Go to Reeves Electro, and all of the components are wired point to point.
Point to point. Yeah.
And it's all suspended. There's no PCB. You see all the work, and it's just beautiful to look at. He really should put just clear plastic covers on the back. I mean, it's that special.
It's so well done.
And
yeah.
he's absolutely one of the nicest fellas. So we're thrilled. He's going to be on the show in the next coming weeks, and I can't wait to talk to him. So
maybe he can tell us what the zinc chromate does.
Maybe he could. Maybe he could. So, anyways, check out Reeves Electro on Instagram and otherwise, and he does waves of pedals. So next wave you get on one of these things. From a collector standpoint, you got to do it. From a sonic standpoint, it sounds like a little tiny dragster. It is just beautiful sounding. It's based off the Tone Bender Mark II.
Okay.
So, anyways, so that was my week. I had a thrill playing with that.
It's always fun to get a box from the UK.
Oh, man. It's great. We got to move on. We got a 4 on the floor coming up.
What?
We've got a very special 4 on the floor because Cody is going to share his 4 on the floor. This is a dude who likes pedals, man. So, first, Tony?
Yes, Todd?
If you were to try to connect two pedals together to make them actually work.
Yes.
And when I say actually work, I say that purposely because I have a box of patch cables that don't work.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to get some that actually worked, what would you choose?
I'm guessing Tour Gear Designs.
Tour Gear Designs patch cables will do the trick.
Let me tell you a little story. Let me tell you a little story. When I was playing a lot more live in the 1980s,
yes,
nobody had pedal boards. And we had these dicey little 2-foot cables that we hooked all our little pedals together with.
Yeah.
Sometimes they worked. A lot of times they didn't. Or you'd get in the middle of something and it would go.
Yep.
These Tour Gear Design cables solve all kinds of problems.
Yep. And Jared, aside from being scratchy and crackly and stuff, what's another real big upside that's actually very small?
The jacks, they fit anywhere.
They
It's
are.
a very small jack profile.
Yes.
Instead of being a big pancake jack, it's a very small, I'm just going to fit there jack.
Yeah, it's about the size of the
My
of
entire
the jack.
board
Your whole board is done?
wired with that.
Nice.
My whole board is Tour Gear Designs. Well, except for one cable, and that was just because I ordered the wrong size.
You shouldn't have mentioned it.
but every one of my pedals is wired with these patch cables, and I am a fan. I love them.
Yeah.
I like the thinness, the flatness of them, as well as the little teeny tiny plug-ins.
Yep. So anyways, to go get your Tour Gear Designs patch cables, go to tourgeardesigns.com/discount/the guitar knobs and get your own. And I am willing to bet you're going to wire your entire board
and you're going to save an additional 10%.
You're going to save 10%
on a reasonably priced product as it is.
That's right. Just mention us, the guitar knobs, and you're going to save 10%. So thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our beloved 4 on the Floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this.
All right, that'll work.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
Cody Foster, Poohbah extraordinaire. What is your 4 on the floor?
Okay, so because I am such a nerd about this, I actually sat down and took time to think about this and what I was going to tell you. So I'm very excited for my curated list. But yeah, so right now, I would say my 4 on the floor. The first one is the KHDK Sergeant D. It is one of my favorite drive pedals that I've ever used in the history of ever. I am a huge Anthrax and specifically Scott Ian fan. And for those that don't know, in the 80s, Scott Ian also had a crossover like hardcore thrash punk band called SOD, Stormtroopers of Death. And he got together with David at KHDK Pedals to basically recreate the sound that he had on the record, the original SOD record. So it is, the one side is I guess a JCM 800-ish style drive explosion extraordinaire. And then on the other side of the pedal is a preamp style boost that boosts into the JCM style drive. So you basically got two pedals in one because they can both be used independently. But it's amazing. It's an absolutely killer drive. The preamp boost just really adds something awesome when you kick on both. I mean, it is a killer pedal, super killer. And I don't know if they'll do another run. It was a limited run of 250. So if you can find one on Reverb, I highly recommend it, but don't pay the scalpers. So, just keep your eyes out.
Sounds good, man. I like it. Scott Ian was, I worked at Costco in Huntington Beach for many years, and he was a regular customer. So it was, hey, Scott.
See, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, he was a super cool dude. Nice. Anyway, I'm sure he totally remembers me. We're cool like that.
Yeah.
I actually lived pretty close to him. So, anyways, that was weird. So what's number 2?
So number 2 is a weird one. So it's got a bit of a backstory, so I'm going to have to share that. But number 2 is I'm not positive on the year. I think mine is an 88 or an 89, but it is a mid to late 80s Boss Digital Metalizer MZ2.
Wow.
So one of my
It sounds awful. I hope you can.
I know. And that is the best part. It is great and awful. Actually, it's actually a really good sounding pedal, but I digress. So one of my favorite post-hardcore bands that really inspired the band I'm playing in now is a band out of Australia called The Mark of Cain. And great band. They've got a bunch of records, but the guitar player has a very, very unique sound. The singer, his name is John Scott. He's the singer and guitar player. They're a trio. And I had been hunting to figure out what in the heck his tone was. I couldn't figure it out. It was just, I couldn't place it when I listened to the records. I'm like, what is this guy using? So I finally found on a random, I think it was the Gear Page forum from 10 years ago, somebody said, oh, I was just at a Mark of Cain show and I know what he's using. So he uses 4 things. it was a JCM 800, a Rickenbacker, however you say it, guitar. Bacher. Thank you. And 2 pedals, a Dimension C chorus.
Oh.
And a
Jared
digital metalizer drive.
Huh.
So this digital metalizer is an analog distortion pedal with onboard digital effects from the 80s.
Huh.
And it has, you can turn them off. It's got a little rotator switch, but it's got 3 different styles of like doubling, like almost like a slapback doubling effect. And then 2 or 3, I can't remember, different styles of built-in chorus. And there are certain settings that will sound like a dumpster fire, but I have found some really cool settings for it, and it is a very, very cool pedal. So I've recently got into like weird, obscure Boss pedals, and that was my first purchase. So that I had to mention that today.
You don't happen to know what model Rickenbacker he's using? I wonder if he's using solid body or hollow body.
I believe it is a hollow body?
Okay, so like a 330, 360.
You said that with great conviction.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. I don't know Rick's very well. I know the sound sort of thing, but I don't know how a guy is able to use like such a jangly guitar to get such a heavy.
And that's going to be my next question. I mean, how can you control? Because I mean, I have several Ricks, and
I bet he's using the one that you have hanging up, the black one that looks like the bass.
It could be like a 480, 481, which are solid bodies, and they look like the bass bodies. I bet you're right.
Yeah, it might be one of those. I love his guitar tone, and it's very different. It's a very different tone, which is what led me to that pedal. And I've yet to take it off my board since I bought it. So
hold on, no, it looks like a 330 or a 360.
Yeah, it's like a fire.
Wow. So the bass player from Joy Division used an Ibanez Rickenbacker, so it was kind of cool. I mean, and those actually, if you can find one these days, because they're really hard to get a hold of, because they made
a lawsuit kind of thing.
Well, it's a definite lawsuit, but I have run across a couple of Ibanez Rick basses that are actually like neck through, like factory Ricks, and you really can't tell the difference till you open up, under the truss rod. There's usually the Ibanezes have a single truss rod versus the Ricks would have a double. But
interesting.
I've been looking for one of the knockoff Rick guitars. I waited too long. I almost pulled the trigger on a Greco one from the 70s.
That's a great.
That would be cool.
Those are outstanding. Dare we say replicas? I guess that's a nice term. But yeah, Greco made some really great ones. There were a couple that came out in the 70s and even into the 80s, and then Rickenbacker pretty much shut them down.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get it. They're protecting their trademark and livelihood, so I totally get it.
That's a great story, Tony. So how about number 3?
So number 3, I actually have to give a thank you to John at Relay Recording for this pedal. It's become one of my favorites. We were recording a few weeks back, about a month ago, I guess, and I had a reverb on my board that I was using. In the band that I'm in right now, I don't really use a lot of modulation or anything like that. I basically just use some reverb. So I like the spacey reverbs for kind of the ambience sort of thing. And the reverb that I had on my board at the time was acting up, and we couldn't get it working. And we were, in the middle of the session, and John goes, "Well, here, let's try this." And he's like, what exactly are you looking for? And I kind of explained him the reverb. So, and he's like, well, let's try this. So he brings in this pedal, and I slap it on my board, and I immediately fell in love. And it is the Earthquaker Ghost Echo. And I was playing through his. I used it on, I am pretty sure, every song that we tracked. I instantly fell in love, to the point that I bought one while we were at the session.
Nice.
Like, the lead guitar player was doing some solos, and I'm flipping the reverb, and I'm like, I found one. So it has become one of my new favorite, like, echo reverb type pedals. It sounds fantastic, and I got one for a killer deal. They're not super expensive, and I had never heard one before, and he brought it to me, and I love the simplicity of it. It's just 3 knobs. I'm a simple guy. I like that it's a simple pedal, and it sounds fantastic.
Cool.
Dig it. Well, that is outstanding, my friend.
You want number 4?
Yeah, maybe number 4 would be good, Todd.
I'm getting there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm talking to Tony.
You only get
He's
3
giving
on
you the bad catcher thing.
3 on a tree.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear your number 4 there, buddy.
So number 4, actually, hilariously enough, John can thank me for, because he bought one 2 days after we left.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, I know, it's hilarious. So number 4 is the Chase Tone Secret Preamp. I've always thought the Echoplex was cool. Everybody loves the Echoplex. They love the Echoplex sound, especially like the preamp in an Echoplex,
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a Google one day and just happened to see, you Google what's the best Echoplex replica preamp. And I stumbled on this Chase Tone Secret Preamp. And I was reading all these forums and boards, and people were saying this is the closest thing we've ever heard to an original Echoplex preamp. Listened to a bunch of demos and ended up picking one up, and I love it. It's an always on pedal for me. I keep it at the end of my chain, right before my boost. You can use it as a boost, and it sounds amazing. And it just adds this special kind of something at the end, this little sparkle kind of, and the band that I play in, we tune to D standard, so everything's a whole step down. So it adds a little bit of this kind of brightness and a little crispness to that low end. And it was funny because I told John that I was using it because he saw it and he goes, what is that? And I told him, and he's like, oh, that thing sounds good. We came back. He texted me and told me he bought one, and then we went back on Friday, and I happened to walk by his board, and I saw it sitting on his board, and I was like, "You started using the Chase Tone?" He's like, "I don't even really know what it does, but it sounds good." And I said, "That's it. That's the thing. That's why I bought it. I don't know what it does, but it sounds good."
It's like an EP drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, similar.
It's a little bit of that special sauce that just kind of sprinkle on at the end. It's And I don't know, it's a cool pedal, and every board that I've built for the last couple of bands that I've played in, it's been on every board. It's a really, really cool pedal.
So you boost the back end.
I do, yeah. So I actually run my tuner at the end of my chain to kind of mute everything. So and I run the preamp right before my boost. So depending on whatever boost I'm using, but yeah, I always keep it. I keep it right before the boost.
Interesting, very interesting. I don't know that I've run into somebody else who puts a tuner at the end of their chain. I'm not saying that that's like a weird thing. I mean, maybe tons of people do that. I just haven't run across anybody who has. You're the first, Cody.
I don't really remember why I started doing it. I think it's because the other guitar player in the band did it, and he's like, yeah, it's just so that it's at the end and I can just quickly mute everything, and it cuts off the trails and all that other stuff. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll do that too. Why not? So I did it, and now every board I've had, I just do that. So I don't know.
Oh, right on, man. Well, thank you so much for Tony. There wasn't a 5 hidden in there or something. Okay, good.
No, I'm not. I'm good with 4. I'm good with 4. Just not 3.
Yeah, Cody, we really appreciate you sharing that, and we appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate all of the things that you contribute to our show and your support. And the cool thing is you're a dude that likes guitar stuff. And when I was here at the studio, John shot me a text. He said, "Hey, I think your boy Cody's down here," and I said, "I'll be right back, family." and I drove over here just to meet you in person. And I don't know, we ended up talking nonstop for about an hour just about gear. It was like, "Hey, how you doing?" So gear.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I think it's like, we're both in a similar line of work too, which is kind of cool
True.
too. So we kind of have that sort of thing. But you know,
Being
I
a
listen,
gigolo's tough, man.
I know it's not easy. And honestly, my fez does not always go over very well
No.
with people. But hey, I keep it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always I liked asking, you know, just about, oh, you talked to this guy, what, you know, and it was cool because, you know, as a listener to the show, hearing the other side of the story with some of the folks that you've talked to and say, hey, I checked out this guy because of the show, and it was cool to be able to talk about that in person.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we want to find out more, and we want to share that more with the other listeners who are probably stuck in traffic right now, and we're going to help them out.
Neat.
So give us your, you know, I always think it's interesting to hear where people come from, as far as, you know, how did they get to where they are right now in their guitar journey. Give us that track for us, will you?
Sure. Yeah. So I started playing guitar. I've kind of always been into music. I'm really the only musical person in my family. But I've always been into music, and I started playing guitar when I was about 11 or 12. I have a couple distinct memories. One of my distinct memories was I grew up, my number one all-time favorite band is Pink Floyd, because of my dad. And I distinctly remember coming out of my bedroom one day, and my dad had the Pink Floyd Pulse concert on the TV. And I happened to come in right at the very beginning. And for those that do or don't know about the show, the very first opening track of the Pulse concert from '94 is Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And I stood there in the, you know, I probably made a better door than a window, but I stood there in the living room just staring at the TV for like a solid 5 minutes at the beginning of the song, which was Gilmour's big solo. And I remember turning and looking at my dad going, I want to do that. And I didn't really know what it was. I knew the band because my dad liked the band, but I just remember going, I want to do that.
Arguably best solo ever. Arguably.
Yes. So it was a combination of that and...
I don't know. I might go with Comfortably
That's why I
Numb.
said arguably. No, what?
Okay, the
Comfortably Numb solo.
Over Shine On You Crazy Diamond?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
I
don't know.
yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
even as an argument can be made, yeah.
I'm
I
not
get
saying
it.
it ain't good, but, you know.
But...
I actually like the Mother solo a lot too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, carry on.
I pretty much like any solo that David Gilmour's done ever, so I'm just going to agree with anything that you say. So yeah, and I also we had I think it was DirecTV, and my parents divorced when I was young, so I remember that my dad had DirecTV and my mom had Dish, or one or the other or something. But whatever it was, at my dad's house, we got something that my mom's house didn't get, and we got VH1 Classic. And when I was a kid, Saturday mornings, I would wake up early and go to bed late on Saturdays because I've discovered this show. And Todd, well, this is going to make you guys laugh, but this might show my age or lack thereof. But I discovered this show called The Headbangers Ball.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I was like a little kid, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. This is super cool. It is nothing but music videos. And I would sit for hours
Ricky
and watch
Rackman.
Headbangers Ball. And it was so cool. So between that and then my Christmas of I was like 12 or 13, my parents bought me a guitar. They bought me a nice one, which I'm very appreciative of. I still have it. It's a early 2000s deluxe Nashville Telecaster that has been modded quite a bit. Changed the pickups more times than I can count. But it's always been the number one. But I started playing guitar, and I took about a year and a half of lessons, and then I sort of strayed away because I was kind of like, well, this guy's just sort of teaching me songs. I could go on the internet and learn that myself. So then I started playing with friends at school and started going to open mics, and I sort of tried to suck the music out of other people through osmosis and learn as I played. And, time went on and I started playing with more people and putting bands together and just learning. And I'm sure I've developed some bad habits over the years in my playing, but it was cool because I used it as a way to meet people, and I would start, say, hey, how did you play that? Or I watched you up there, you were playing this. How did you do that, or whatever? And it was really neat because I got to make some friends I've had for years, and also learn some cool guitar tricks along the way, and just discover my love for that. And so that's kind of where I ended up where I am now. And the gear came from I guess the love of the gear. I didn't own a guitar pedal. I didn't own any pedals. And a good friend of mine from when I was going to open mics back when I was a freshman in college, I told him that I was looking at maybe getting a pedal and I didn't have anything. And because I had my Telecaster and I had a Vox tube amp. That's all I had. And he said, well, I got something. I'll bring it to you. So he brought me an old T-Rex Crunchy Frog. Because at the time I was really into the blues music. I've always been into blues, but it was a 2-in-1 pedal. It was like a crunchy drive and a independent boost. And that was my first guitar pedal. And I was like, these things are fun. I can stomp on them and they don't break and they make neat sounds. So I just started getting into pedals from there. And then, I just kind of fell down that rabbit hole of, and I'm a nerd, so I like learning about stuff. So every time I would hear about I heard somebody mention a clon, I would be like, what's that? And I would go try to figure out everything I could about the clon or about a Dumble or about all the fabled stuff that you hear about. And then I just kind of fell down that rabbit hole. And now I have too much stuff and nowhere to put it.
Wow. That's my
time to get a bigger space.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on that, but right now the significant other, the matron of the home that runs the ship, she's like, we have to get more room or you got to stop buying things. And I was like, sounds like we got to get more room.
That's perfect.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Exactly.
That's cool, man. Tell us about your I think everybody goes through a tone chasing journey and specifically with the amplifier. It's like, you're going like, I want these pedals, but then it comes to the amp. I think some people are either like amp forward people or like, I'm still trying to figure out what amp I need to do the thing.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say that because I myself am an amp forward guy, whereas the other guitar player in my band is very much a pedal forward guy. And I've had lots of amps over the years. And it's funny because right now I am down to the least amount of amps that I've ever had. And I think I'm going through withdrawals. But in my old band that I was with for a few years, I wanted to get a sound that was like that really nice edge of breakup, kind of like the Replacements meets Tom Petty tone. And I had lots of different amps on that, and I was able to find stuff for that, and I fit that tone chase. But right now, my tone chase has been, I want an amp that I need to be able to play it and it takes pedals well, but also if I feel like just plugging in and turning it up, it still sounds good. Mm-hmm. Which has been a bit of a struggle for me. So I'm pretty much right now I'm relegated to the band that I'm in. I'm just using, I've got 2 amps that I use primarily. I had for a long time, years ago, I had an orange Tiny Terror and I sold it and I really wanted to buy another orange. And for years I wanted an orange and I went back and forth. And now my main amp is an orange AD30.
I have a few of those. It's a good amp.
I love them. I love it.
He literally does have a few. I mean,
that's awesome. That's actually really cool.
It's good. It's actually, that's a fantastic, especially for pedals.
Yeah. Well, and I love the fact that it's 2 completely discrete channels that it's got, then they both have the full EQ and everything. So I keep one like sort of on the edge of breakup that if I hit it a little harder, it'll crunch for me. And then I keep one just straight up, balls to the wall distortion. And I have that. And then my second amp that I use is actually kind of an obscure, it's not really obscure, but it's a weird situation. It was actually given to me by a very, very good friend of mine. I have a 74 Silverface Bassman 50 that the bass channel has been modded. So the friend of mine that gave it to me is a big amp guy, and he builds his own amps and mod stuff. And the bass channel has been modded to sound like a Trainwreck Express. So it has a lot more gain, and it really like kind of slices through the mix. So between those two amps, they both take the pedals really well, and they both can be, if I just decide I want to plug in and crank it, the rock and roll's there. And I'm like I said before, I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to like the tones. And I tell my guitar player buddy that's in the band with me all the time that I always think of myself as just a glorified hack punk player that knows how to play a couple of scales. And so when I think
you're one up on me.
Yeah, me too. Hack punk player, yes. Scales, no.
Tony can secretly play like every single Beatles
I'm at a weight where I try to avoid scales at all possible costs.
I only know.
I missed that. You walked right into it, and I watched you.
I threw you a bone.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, so a lot of for me, like I want a tone that's going to sound like a punch to the gut. That's what I that's what I want. And I grew up listening, the four. I say that my favorite music probably of all is punk music, and the four punk bands that got me into punk music all have guitar tones that feel like a punch to the gut, and it's Rancid, Social Distortion, Dropkick Murphys, and The Exploited, and all those tones was just like, man, I want to get that. So
you got to go back to the original, though. You got to go back to the Clash.
Oh, well, see, okay, so yes, I'm also, and then see, that's what I did, because at the time I only really knew those punk bands, so I started going back to see where they were from, and I got into, I really got into bands like Discharge and the Varukers and like the early like super heavy UK hardcore stuff, and I absolutely adore the Clash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean the Clash. The four bands that you mentioned, they were, I believe, directly influenced by the Clash.
For sure,
100%.
You can hear, especially.
Well, and it's funny you mention them too, because I remember my dad. My dad is a child of the thrash metal era, so he didn't like punk music. He's never liked, which is kind of hilarious given where the thrash stuff came from. But he didn't like punk. He always thought punk was stupid because when he grew up, he was listening to Metallica and, Exodus and Death Angel and all that stuff. And we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I was a kid. And at the time they had their exhibition hall up at the top of the building was an exhibition for the Clash. And I've always been into military stuff, but just being a big history buff. And I remember seeing, the uniform that Joe wore on the Combat Rock tour, and their entire exhibition was about the Clash and everything. And I remember walking through going, who in the heck are these guys? I've never heard of this band. And he was walking through, and I was like, Dad, do you know these guys? He goes, yeah, they sucked then, they suck now too. And I was like, wow. Okay, thanks, Dad. And I was like, I don't
soup for him.
I know. And I was like, sure. Okay. So the first thing I did when I got back home was I found Combat Rock, because I kept seeing that everywhere. It was Combat Rock. So I was like, this is really cool. What else did they do? And then I found the London Calling album.
London Calling, yeah. Combat Rock is not one of my favorite Clash albums. But I mean, you go back to the beginning, the Clash, Give Them Enough Rope, London Calling.
Give Enough Rope is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a video of them a live show of them doing Tommy Gun at like 12 or 13, and I was like, holy crap, that just it was the coolest thing. So I've always been really inspired by punk music and sort of the ethos that you as silly as it is, you don't have to be talented to sound good. And
that's true.
And I was like, well, I can't play all that well, but I can do it with passion. So that's half the battle.
Yeah, man.
I agree.
Dig it. Jared's got a question for you.
So I wanted to ask, what's your holy grail guitar? If you had $1 billion and money was not an issue.
I played it probably 2 months ago. I could not take it home despite what the kind man at Chicago Music Exchange said to me. He was like, do you like it? I said, I loved it. He's like, take it home. And I was like, ooh, hard pass on that one, guy, but thank you. But my holy grail guitar would be the year's not really of consequence, but I'll say it anyway. But a 1960 double cut Les Paul Jr.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I have a Junior, and I have a lot of my favorite guitar players played single pickup, like Junior style guitars. One of my favorite guitar players is Brian Baker from Bad Religion, Minor Threat, Dag Nasty. And I am convinced you can get any style, tone, anything you want out of a Junior. There is something about that single pickup with just a volume and a tone, and I don't know. I love it, and I think I love the simplicity. It feels to me when I was sitting playing my Junior or playing that Junior at CME, it feels like you're just holding a battle axe, and it is just such an ethereal, amazing feeling because they're guitars that they feel like they don't break. So, and I'm not an easy player. I'm definitely the jump around, knock things over kind of guitar player, but they feel rugged. They feel like that you could go to war with them and they will just ride alongside you. And I just think they are
It's like a bat.
Yeah, it does. And it's weird saying that because I'm not a Gibson guy. I'm a Telly guy and I'm a big Fender guy, but there is something about the way that when they came up with that and they're like, here's a slab of wood with a P90. It broke the mold for me. And I think if I could have, in the fact the one that I played at CME fit that bill, it was a faded like cherry red, yeah, I don't know. It's just like I said, battle axe, like a bat. You're going to war. It's great.
Very good choice.
Excellent. Hang on, Tony's got a hot one for you.
Oh boy,
it is a hot one.
See, when you say that, all I can think of is the smash hit of Carlos Santana and Rob Thomas. It's a hot one.
Oh no! Nothing quite that hot. So, I mean, we've talked a bit about your amps and your guitars and things. I mean, what do you wish that you would have known when you were just starting out as a guitar player and collector?
You know, I wish I would have known that hype doesn't matter. I used to think, and I don't think that anymore, but I used to think that you know, to be successful, you got to have certain brand names, and you couldn't play a solid state amp. You had to have a tube amp, and these different things. And that I wish that at the formidable teen years when I was still trying to build up my gear and discover myself as a player, I wish I didn't think that, well, so-and-so said it was good, so that's what I have to play. I would tell myself that, hey, if you like it and it sounds good to you and it helps you express yourself, then it doesn't matter what it is. I know that now, and I wish that I knew that back then, because I probably would not only still have some of the gear that I wish I kept because I got rid of it because I was like, oh, this is cheap. I can't play this. I got to play something better. I wish there were things that I still had, and also there was stuff that I probably wasted money on because I didn't really need it. Yeah, it would be get past the hype, because it's not about what somebody else says it's cool. It's about what you can use and what tool helps you produce your art. And it doesn't matter if it's a $500 pedal or a $20 pedal or a $5,000 guitar or a $200 guitar.
Yeah.
As long as it sounds good to you and helps you produce what makes you happy, then it doesn't matter.
I think that's sage advice. I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, people do get hung up sometimes on labels and brands and you know what their favorite players are playing, and you know you can. Sometimes you just have to live with what you can afford and what sounds good to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the privilege of owning some really expensive guitars relative to me, a couple $1,000s and stuff. But also, one of my favorite guitars that I have now, out of the, 10, 12 that I have, is a 2020 Epiphone SG. And the only thing that I've done to it is I replaced the tuning heads, just because I'm a stickler about stuff like that, and actually slapped in a pair of Mr. Brandon's Brandon Wound Buford T-Buckers.
Nice.
Sound amazing, by the way. Thank you for that. But that's one of my favorite guitars, and I've got like...
Now all you need is a special pick guard.
You say that.
I know a guy.
I might actually be hitting you up about that. But I mean, the guitar player and the lead guitar player in my band is he's actually a big Epiphone guy. He's got a whole bunch of Epiphones, and for a long time I was like, oh, Epiphone, that's the cheapy brand. And then I started hearing his, and I started playing them. I'm like, it doesn't matter. They sound good. Like, it doesn't matter what the label is, what the name is. It sounds good.
Well, and it's just like any other, like there are Gibsons and Fenders that aren't going to feel right and aren't going to play well. I mean, there's not all of them are amazing, and not all Epiphones or Squires are like quote unquote not playable or cheap or something like that. There's loads of them that sound fantastic and play well and feel right, and it's up to you. If it feels good and you feel great playing it, doesn't matter.
And they have made major strides over the last couple of years.
Both of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wildly impressed when I played. I had some time on a weekend, and I happened to pop. There's a Guitar Center right by my house. I just was bored, so I happened to pop over there, and I was just kind of walking around, fiddle-farting around, and I picked up one of the new Epiphone, the Prophecies. It was a Prophecy SG, and I went back and plugged it into, I think it was a Friedman. So, kind of picking something nice to sit it with. But I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. And I was like, this is unbelievable. This thing sounds amazing. It feels amazing. And I know the Prophecies are on the higher end of the Epiphone scale right now because they've got a lot of the accoutrements and stuff like that. But I was like, if you told me this was a $1,500, $1,700 guitar, I'd probably believe you.
But no, it's a $500 guitar. Yeah.
I was absolutely blown away. And like I said, I loved my my Epiphone SG. It's funny. I played a gig with my band a couple of months ago, and I took 2 guitars, and I had my Japanese-made ESP and my Epiphone SG. And halfway through the show, I was like, yeah, I'm going to play the SG. And I played it the rest of the show. And it was because my guitar player and I were laughing about it. And he's like, I saw you switch. And I was like, yeah, I don't like one or the other. But, the SG just felt better.
Needed some love.
Whatever. We were jamming.
Nice. Well, Cody, we got one more big fat question for you.
That's
and
right.
then we're going to head over to Jared's side of the town. But Jared, go ahead.
So, what guitar player would you love to join on stage at one of your shows? Like, some big celebrity, dead or alive, and they just appeared at your show, and they looked like they wanted to play guitar with you, and they had their own guitar and rig that would magically appear if you wanted them.
That would be a little tougher if they were dead, but
well, it's all magic and mythical anyway. So whatever you want. So who would it be?
Oh man. It's funny. I can think of so many.
Who was
right now,
the first one that came to your mind? Very
believe
first
it
one.
The first one that came to my mind actually was Johnny Thunders.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the first one that I think it would either be either Johnny Thunders or Ronnie Wood. Either one.
Interesting.
Nice.
I am a really huge Faces fan. I love his guitar playing. I've actually tried to emulate a lot of my stuff after him. But to answer your question, the answer I will give you is Johnny Thunders. I loved the New York Dolls. I loved his stuff with the Heartbreakers. He was a junior guy.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I loved the sound of when I heard Personality Crisis for the first time and that unbelievably raw guitar tone. And I actually found a weird deep cut album that I found was actually a live show of Johnny Thunders and Wayne Kramer together.
Oh, wow.
From the 90s. And it's a great record. And it's actually on Spotify, believe it or not.
I'll have to check that one out. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll have to find it and I'll send it to Todd and he can disperse. But I remember listening to the Dolls and watching videos, and I'm like, he looks like he would be so much fun to just jam with. So yeah, it'd be some Johnny Thunders and just bust into some old angry punk music. It'd be so much fun.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great choice.
Yeah. Well, Cody, it's been fantastic talking with you and find out all about your gear, hopes, dreams, and desires. And
thank you.
We're gonna slide on over to J Rod's house, get his
it's my favorite part.
Greasy hands off of that greasy burger, and dial us up some good stuff here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it came to the point of the show just now where it's time to play our favorite game called Would You Rather? This week's Would You Rather is from Bob Crouch. Style over substance. You're asked to play a guest spot on stage with Joe Bonamassa for a gig at the Royal Albert Hall. You practice to the point of knowing you are going to nail your performance. But you were walking down the street to the airport and you left your guitar at the hot dog store. Of course, I could do that. I would do that all day long. A hot dog store, because you got to have a hot dog.
Mistake.
Do you like the foot longers or do you like the shorties? Or the Skyline Chili conies?
A would you rather within a would you rather. I love it.
Oh my.
I'm gonna do the foot long just because there's more.
Yeah.
Okay. That explains why you left your guitar there.
Yes.
So on the night of the gig, you have two guitars available to you, right, to walk on stage with. The first one feels perfect. That sounds amazing to your ears, but it is a hot pink BC Rich Warlock. So either the pink BC Rich Warlock or the second choice is a poorly set up Telecaster knockoff, which is tougher to play. That sounds kind of blah, it just doesn't sound very good. It's uninspiring to your ears, but it's a more traditional instrument for blues rock. So the really poorly rusty string junky-ish Tele knockoff, or the awesome feeling, super everything awesome, hot pink BC Rich Warlock.
All right. That's quite a good one. Thank you, Bob Crouch, for sending that in. Antoinette?
I'm going to go with the Skyline Conies.
Okay.
There's something about those little miniature hot dogs
Yes.
that are delectable. Delectable. Especially when you get it with the chili and the cheese and the onions and the mustard.
I can see that.
I mean, I don't really. I mean, so I'm jamming with JB. Is that right?
This is your moment.
This is my moment. He's not going to be impressed with some knockoff Telecaster.
Well, you're not there to
thing.
impress him with your guitar. You impress him with your playing.
Well, forget that. They'll be turning my microphone down real quick. Like, as much as I'm not crazy about Warlocks by design, if it's playing well and sounds good, I mean, to me, that's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
And especially a hot pink guitar. I love me a hot pink guitar.
There you go. All right, Jared.
I'm definitely going to go with the hot pink Warlock.
And you're still sticking with the 12-inch? The footlongs?
That is correct.
Okay.
Hot pink Warlock all the way, because I'm a big giant guy. If somebody talks about a pink guitar that I'm using, I'm really not going to care. I own a pink Telly Paisley.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
All right. Cody, how about yourself?
Without a doubt, no questions, the hot pink BC Rich.
First, the hot dog type.
Oh, ugh. I'm going to pick the footlong because we have the root beer stand here in Cincinnati, which has the finest footlong conies ever to walk on this planet. I'm going to choose the footlong. But yes, the BC Rich, because I had a pink Schecter Telly from the 80s that I should never have gotten rid of, and I long for another pink guitar. So the pink is just, and I had a friend who used to tour with a country band and played a purple Ibanez RG, so you can play with whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So
All
give me
right.
that pink, man.
Okay. Well,
Todd?
I am going to.
Hot dogs?
I don't eat meat, so I'm going to give a footlong to Jared.
Oh, nice.
Good man.
Yeah.
that is 24 inches of hot dog.
Jeez.
I won't say it.
Yeah. I know. I'll put them side by side, which is maybe worse. Anyways, we've got. I'm going to the pink guitar too, because for nothing else, that will be the opportunity to show JB up, because nobody's gonna be looking at him. Everyone's gonna be like, "What?" Then he'd be like, "Yo, you were the guy with the pink Warlock on stage. That's awesome, dude. Yeah."
Sure.
I'm here for that. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
So we got.
We're all on the same.
Well, I'm alone on the
No.
on the Skyline Conies.
Yeah. Okay. You had to mess that up. All right. So thank you so much to Bob Crouch for sending that in. If you've got a Would You Rather, we would love to hear it from you. So please send that to us. Tony's going to say a few thank yous, and we're going to say goodbye to our pal Cody, and then let you all go to do whatever it is that you're doing today. Maybe getting a hot dog or something.
Yes.
Anthony,
I might stop on the way home.
go.
You know, Todd, at this point of the show, we like to thank a special group of people.
Yes.
These would be our executive producers.
That's right.
Now, let's just say someone out there is listening and said, I would really like to become an executive producer and help support this podcast. Become a patron of the podcast. It's a simple thing to do. You go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple of different levels in which you can participate in supporting, becoming a patron of the podcast. The top of the heap would be our executive producers.
That's right.
Now, each level comes with its own bevy of thank you gifts, things like barefoot buttons and picks and T-shirts and keychains and stickers and all the good stuff. But as an executive producer, you get all that great stuff, but there's one thing more. Jared, what's that?
Cody, say it.
You get your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now.
Well done.
So special thanks to Tom Barazin, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Anthony Lathrop, John Anglin, Brad Partridge, John Esterly, Justin Jones, James White, Matt Hart, Bill Gula Guitars, Richard Kendall, Tig Harmon, John Jackson, Jason Roush, Gary Cooper, Mark Garton, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Trevor Gunberg, Rick Calhoun, Anthony Gemolero, and John Helverson.
Yeah.
But wait, Todd, there's more.
Oh.
There's much, much more to go. Because, yeah, we've got executive producers, and then we've got really executive producers. These are our Grand Poohbahs. These folks are the top of the heap, and they spend their days and nights in individual hot tubs filled with some sort of orange liquid. After that, they go off to personalized sauna rooms to steam out the demons.
It gets better every episode.
So special thanks to these Grand Poohbahs. Oh, did I mention there's a fez that goes along with this?
Yes.
They wear a fez while listening or even thinking or even talking about the podcast. So
It just magically appears.
it's there. It's like magic. So special thanks to these Grand Poohbahs. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Sean S. Tom Imanasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, Johnny Morales, Mel Sanders, Bob Crouch, Sam Jett, Michio Murakishi, Martin Cliff, Hex Matos. Am I forgetting someone?
Nope, I think that's everybody.
Cody Foster.
Cody Foster! How could I forget? How
hey,
could I
that's
forget?
Thank you, Cody, and
Thank you,
and
Cody.
everyone else who is supporting our show. We truly mean it.
Absolutely.
It's the best. Thank you all. All right, Cody, where can people find maybe your music that you're doing?
Yeah. So right now we have a Facebook page. We don't really use it a whole lot because I'm not really a big Facebook guy. But it's the band is called Armadeus, like Amadeus, but with an R.
Rock me,
so you can.
Armadeus.
That was exactly our thought, and we are waiting to get T-shirts made with that shtick. But you can find us on Facebook. It's just Armadeus Cincinnati. And you search the same thing on YouTube. We got a bunch of videos up there from various shows and things like that. But that's it pretty much.
Right on. Started sounding a little bit like Jason Bateman there for a second. Tony, go ahead.
Let's just say you need a special pick guard. You want to change out pickups. You want to change the look of your guitar. Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out all the stuff that I do. There's stuff you can buy online, but by and large, I do special custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, what you're trying to do. I can give you some advice maybe. We can pick something out that's going to work for you, and I'll take very good care of you.
And speaking of those, Anthony Gemorello, who you just recently mentioned,
Yes.
it's probably going to need. I'm guessing he's going to want a sweet pick guard from you. He might not, but I'm thinking he will.
Yeah.
Because he just got a new guitar from Marvin Guitars, who's going to be on the show real soon.
Nice.
Super excited about that.
Connection.
Yes. I just rounded third and fourth.
Charles Nelson Riley lives.
Jared, how about yourself?
If you have any questions about pickups or anything like that, or just want to drop me a line, just get a hold of me through the Guitar Knobs podcast social medias, either Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. You can send me an email. I want to use the right pronoun. An email. Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can also send me a DM, also the correct use of pronouns. ADM. On ADM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We'd love to hear from you. Share us your story. Share anything you want with us. We don't care.
The would you rather.
The would you rathers. Yes, send us a would you rather. We'd love that. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We feel like you were here, and we now need to clean up. So have a fantastic guitar week. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Now that Jared's not here, it's just you and I, Todd. And Cody has to listen.
Cody, it really does go a lot smoother than this most of the time.
Yeah.
It was just south of Nashville earlier, and it's kind of just working its way through the Virginias next.
Huh.
Jared?
What are you doing?
Jared?
I lost my damn thing. Hang on.
My damn thing. Where's my damn thing? We're in this little secret room outside near the restrooms.
To the jazz.
That je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, certain je ne sais quoi.
No, je ne sais quoi. Huh?
So,
We'll do it
Jared,
live!
you got to remember that your microphone is off to the side of your face.
You can't make me do it right.
I know, as hard as I try.
No.
He did not know that. Tony Dudzik.
Wait a minute.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, this was never here.
Yeah, it's been there. Jared.
I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I thought I was going to be the one screwing things up, so I'm actually kind of happy.
Oh, I just restarted my computer.
What?
Do you not listen this far into the podcast?
Probably not.
Say a few things. Have a few laughs.
Yes.
Like-
yes. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes.
Anyways. Anyway. No, I'm going to use that for sure.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.